Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And welcome back to week 3 of my Japan 2024 vlog. It's already been 2 months since I first went on my trip, so it's kind of crazy looking back on something that happened so many months ago. But I was doing this vlog as a way to just reflect and kind of debrief myself over the next few months about this event this grand journey I went on. So for this week, week 3, starting December 27th, after Christmas, it was a chill couple of days before Comiket came up, so I decided just to explore Tokyo for a bit while I did my cosplay preparations. On the 27th, I went to Inokashira Park, which is a park on the west side of Tokyo, in a place called Kichioji. It is a very nice park and it's very big. Good place for a stroll. There's a big lake in the middle of it, or a pond, I suppose. And there is also a small temple there. It is one of the locations in another science adventure series show, game, book, whatever medium you're looking at, Occultic 9. That show takes place in Kichioji, and Inokashira Park is one of the main elements, if you will, settings that the show occurs in. I didn't take too many pictures because I was there mostly for a stroll and for the things around there. Namely, one of the things that's pretty close to the park is actually the Ghibli Museum. Unfortunately, the day I went to the Ghibli Museum, even though I didn't have a reservation, I was just curious. But it seems that they were closed for the New Year's already, and they wouldn't be opening till after New Year's. But I was able to take some photos of the Ghibli Museum from the outside. And I'm not actually that much of a fan of Ghibli. I think it's kind of mid, but it was cool seeing the outside of the Ghibli Museum. Afterwards, I went over, I believe one train station over, to a Trash Taste recommended restaurant from Connor, Sea Dog VA. It's called, I believe it's called Dap's Hood Joint. Let me just check it. The Dap's Famous Hood Joint in Kichioji. It's a bodega deli. It's literally attached to a barber shop, and they serve some damn good chopped cheese. That's what I got, the chopped cheese. They had a couple other options too. It was my first time having a chopped cheese, and ironically, having a chopped cheese not in America was a little strange, but it was authentic. I believe the owner's from New York, so I believe they're from Harlem. I could be wrong, but yes, it's a New York themed, New York bodega themed sandwich shop. And yeah, it's pretty tasty, reasonable prices as well. So, after that, I had the rest of the day, so I was really just exploring Tokyo. I went back to Shibuya briefly, and they had a bunch of Jujutsu Kaisen advertising up in the Shibuya crossing area. I took your classic Shibuya crossing photos, and there was a couple of cool kind of stores and pop-ups. I think there was like a Disney, like, princess pop-up, anime pop-up store, kind of. I thought that was pretty interesting. The art was very cool. I don't really like Disney either, but I sent it to my friends. Of course, like I mentioned, there was some Jujutsu Kaisen advertising out on the billboards. And I just spent my time in that Shibuya crossing, kind of like shopping area. Went to Shibuya Parko. I also went to Tower Records for the first time. And there was another pop-up there. There was a Demon Cultivation pop-up store. I don't know much about the series, but I have friends who are interested, so I went to check it out and got some gifts for them. And I also took a picture of Mario at the Shibuya Parko, where the Nintendo store is. There was also, I'm not sure if it was a HoloLive pop-up, but there was like a HoloLive plushie store that had a whole bunch of plushies. Of course, I took a picture of a fauna plushie since she was graduating. After that, I decided to go to Shinagawa, oddly enough. And the reason I went to Shinagawa, which is a little out of the way from everything else, is because Kojima Productions is located there. Mr. Hideo Kojima, famous for the Metal Gear series, left Konami and opened Kojima Productions. Now, you can't actually go into their offices, which makes sense. It's a corporate building. But in their office lobby, which is like a set of other corporate offices, they do have a Luden statue on the outside. So I went and took a picture there. It was really cool. Sadly, Mr. Kojima did not walk out. And near that area, it's mostly just a corporate area, but the Sony headquarters was also there. So I went into the Sony lobby, and I just kind of walked around. I probably wasn't supposed to take a picture here. I noticed too late after the fact when I saw the signs. But they actually have quite a few things you can do in the lobby, just as a tourist. They have a bunch of their tech on display, their cars, PlayStation 5s, but also on, I believe it was the back wall, they actually show the history of Sony, and starting with their tech and their origins, going through like their history of the Walkman into the gaming sphere and other electronics. So even though I wasn't working there and I was pretty out of place, it was basically a short museum tour for me. After that, I went back to Akihabara since I had nothing else to do for the rest of the day, and I decided to go to the very first maid cafe located in the Onoden building. It's called Cure Maid Cafe, and this is another one of those low-key kind of chill maid cafes. Everyone's in their classical maid uniforms there, reasonable prices for the food, and there isn't really any performances. It's a place to sit down, eat, relax, and have maids, quote unquote, serve you, but there won't be any moe moe kyun. They might say okari nasai when you come in, but that's about it. It's located on the, I believe, fifth floor of the Onoden. The Onoden is a big electronics department store, but once you get to the fifth floor, it switches over to like anime merch and other kinds of like niche otaku culture. So some wrestling, some wrestler items. You get a lot of like anime and visual novel merch. Like I found Clanad, Canon, and Air merch, which I found really surprising. I can't find that anywhere else. Some Tsukihime, Fate, and in like the back corner of the fifth floor, there's also like a cosplay, like a cosplay store that sells cosplay clothing and props. Unfortunately, the prices are pretty expensive there. The quality's okay, but also I noticed most of the cosplays there are catered towards women, or it's mainly female characters, not too many male characters. There was one with like the I believe Attack on Titan. It was like a Levi uniform, but it might have been sized for a female. I think the average cosplay is the cheapest one I saw was like a good one was 200 Canadian dollars or 200,000 yen. So, or oh no, 20,000 yen. So it was not cheap. At Cure Maid Cafe, I got a latte, I believe. I think that I forgot what I got, but it had a big dollop of whipped cream on it, and it was still the Christmas menu. And I was feeling frugal, so I just got a waffles with ice cream set. After that, I just spent my time around Akiba, went to some arcades. I found out that FGO Arcade doesn't print out cards anymore since the game is essentially on life support, which made me very disappointed because I loved getting those cards and handing them out as souvenirs. For dinner, I went to Kura Sushi. Or not, I went to Hama Sushi, the one in Akihabara. Hama Sushi is a conveyor belt sushi restaurant, and I was there on a weekend, I believe, so it was very busy, but since I was a solo traveler, I was able to get a very easy seat at the bar, and there was a seating time, I believe, but I was ready to just eat, get in, get out. Ordering there is very fast. You do it all on your iPad, and they have an English option as well. I got mainly just set dishes. Each dish was The ones I got, it was mainly just sushi or sushi. They have ramen and other options as well, but I was there for sushi. I wouldn't go to Hamasushi for ramen or French fries or something. But I got a variety of, your usual salmon, tuna, mackerel. I also got this weird tuna and the corn thing, as you can see in the picture. You can see my plate was getting pretty piled high. I will say though, eating sushi, even at conveyor belt sushi, isn't exactly cheap. It does add up, so I had to be a little bit conscious about what I ordered. Fortunately, they have this 200 yen plate with three different cuts of sushi, for example, like three cuts of salmon. So I just ate a lot of those kind of combo plates to be a little frugal. After that, it was the morning of the 28th, and this was the day I went to Ikebukuro for breakfast. For breakfast, I had checked into the Washington Hotel in Akihabara, so I had breakfast at the Denny's that is located at the bottom of the hotel. I got your simple breakfast plate, and I think I swapped out the bread for a French toast. It was, quote unquote Western food, but it was Japanese bacon sucks, is all I can say. After that, I went off to Ikebukuro. Now, if Akihabara is, otaku heaven, Ikebukuro is Fujoshi heaven because there are many different K-books there that cater towards specifically BL and, Fujoshi tendencies. But I didn't actually go to the K-books this time. I mainly went to check out Sunshine City because Sunshine City has a Pokemon Center there. And I've been there before in my previous trips, but I wanted to see what had changed. It was more or less the same. I got there pretty early. Did you know that in terms of human Pokemon compatibility, Vaporeon is ... I think there was like it was a weekend still, so there was like some performances downstairs, some Hello Kitty Sanrio themed performances. So I checked that around. I was mainly there also just to look for Pokemon cards for friends because they wanted the Evolutions packs, and they were already sold out in North America, so we thought giving Japan a chance might have worked. Also, near Ikebukuro, right close to Ikebukuro Station, I believe at the Parco, is the Evangelion store. The Evangelion store, they have all kinds of different merch. If you didn't watch the last week's, or the second week of my trip, I was in Hakone, and there was another Evangelion store there, but this one had a slightly different set. They had a 20th anniversary for that Evangelion store itself, and as well in the new year they would be celebrating 30 years of EVA, which is kind of scary. But yeah, they all had kind of special merch. You get a free sticker if you spend more than 5,000 yen and you're a tourist, since it is a tax-free store. They had all kinds of cool Evangelion ranging from the original series to a 3.0 plus 1.0. I specifically got some Evangelion merch for a friend for their birthday. I got them a placard with the Evangelion 20th anniversary kind of like symbol, if you will. And I also got a couple, I got him a glasses case, an Unit 1 themed glasses case. And not actually shown in the picture here, but at this time, GU, which is like the same company as Uniqlo, but a little lower quality, they were having an Evangelion collab, and I was also able to get the Unit 1 and Unit 2 crossbody bags for a really reasonable price. After my trek at the Evangelion store and the GU in Ikebukuro, I was back in Sunshine City because I actually got to Ikebukuro way too early and none of the shops were open, so I spent a lot of time walking just waiting for things to open. I went back to Sunshine City because there is a Okinawan restaurant. I unfortunately wasn't able to go to Okinawa on this trip, even though I had originally planned to, but I was able to at least get a taste of Okinawa by ordering some Okinawan cuisine, champuru cuisine, I believe it's called. and it was much different from Japan. It actually reminded me a bit more of Chinese food, which makes a little bit of sense given their slightly closer proximity. And if my understanding of Japanese history is correct, is a lot of Chinese influence in Okinawa, aside from the Americans showing up. But they had this little grape salad bowl, and it was like a udon, kitsune udon, I believe. Oh, not kitsune udon, just a udon bowl, and some braised pork. And the main star of the show was this kind of bitter melon and fried egg dish. I was surprised. Normally, I don't really like bitter melon. It's too bitter for me, but this, combined with the egg, was not too bitter, and I actually quite enjoyed it. This kind of set menu helped me try all kinds of Okinawan cuisine all together, which was really nice. And there was like this little lemon jello type dessert. But yeah, it's in Sunshine City, Ikebukuro. The restaurant is called, let me see if I can find it. It's called Uminchu Shubo in Ikebukuro, Sunshine City. And it's a very Okinawan vibe. They play Okinawan music, and it's a little more rustic than the other surrounding restaurants. So it was a really cool experience. After that, I went around just exploring different stores in Sunshine City before returning back to Akihabara, and I went to Milish to cool down, if you will, from a long day's trek. I ended up getting the Jushi Karage #1, Mayushi's favorite, from Steins Gate, as well as her character-themed drink. So that was a nice snack before getting a proper dinner, quote-unquote. I was more like grazing for today. After I got the Jushi Karage #1, I decided to head over to Mossburger, where I got the teriyaki rice bun burger. I regret spending my money, having tried both rice bun burgers at Mossburger now. It's not the rice bun is not it. Just eat rice normally or fried rice, anything but this. Never again, just get a regular burger at Mossburger. But yeah, I knew tomorrow was going to be a very, very physically, mentally taxing day, since tomorrow, Sunday the 29th of December 2024 was the first day of Comiket. Winter Comiket, C105, my first Comiket. Of course, I was keeping it simple. I was going out, and I wanted to do my shopping. I was cosplaying as Okabe from Steins Gate. It was a incognito cosplay, so I just went to the convention wearing my lab coat. No one cared, surprisingly. But it was bloody freezing. Now, I'm from Canada, so I'm used to the cold, but man, I was underdressed. Like, just wearing a heat tech long sleeve and the lab coat, it was not enough for 4-degree weather. And once I got there, I had the early AM pass, not the I didn't win the lottery, sadly. How Comiket worked was there was a lottery system for early entry, and then you can buy a regular ticket at like an Animate or something. That's what I did, since I only got early entry for Sunday. But I got there early, and as you can see in the picture here, the lines were bloody massive trying to get to Tokyo Big Sight. And I definitely got lost at one point just trying to get into the convention. Comiket, for those who don't know, is very much unlike your regular, like, North American conventions for anime and manga. They're definitely more lean towards selling goods or buying goods, mainly fan works, but also corporate areas where big companies and big gaming companies come and show off their goods as well. Once I actually made it into Big Sight, the first place I went to was the corporate area, because I knew things would sell out quickly. That's another thing with Comiket, things sell out very quickly. I went over to the Type Moon booth because there was the Fate Stay Night 20th anniversary booth, and there I got a very cool poster, or posters, I should say. I got their calendar for, I believe, 5,000 yen or something. It's essentially 12 different posters that act as calendars for the 2025 year. I'll attach a separate picture since I didn't, take a picture at Comiket. It's very nice, and essentially I bought 12 posters for Fate and other Type Moon works. They also had some other options like you can buy the Fate Stay Night Remastered, the original games, Tsukihime I believe as well. They were also selling like a long towel with Saber on it. I have no use for that, so I didn't buy it. They also were selling some figures as well. If you bought the calendar, you get this massive bag, which kind of carried me through the rest of Comiket, since I would just throw all the books and dojins I bought in that bag and lug it around. But it was really cool being able to get this quote-unquote exclusive merch that will definitely be resold for absurd prices. After that, I was just exploring, and on my way out of the corporate area and over to the dojin area, I believe it was the East Hall. Comiket is separated between like a South and an East Hall for all their vending good, all the vendors and the corporate areas, and there's a designated area for cosplayers as well, both indoors and outdoors. On my way there, I saw this really cool Samus cosplay. That was awesome. And I eventually, after that, went to East area, did some shopping of dojins. Not really many pictures of the dojins, unfortunately, because they're not exactly safe for work, and honestly, it was mostly just gift shopping for friends and buying them stuff. I accidentally bought some Blue Archive at SFW from Ayami Mama, but I also got some other artists, got some cool Elden Ring art books, and contrary to popular belief, not all Comiket stuff is 18 plus. A lot of it is just fan art books and fan stories, which is pretty interesting, and I hope that helps dispel the myth a little bit that no, Comiket is not full of degens. You get regular art there as well, and people like selling photo books of them and of their cosplays as well. Eventually, I made it to the cosplay area, and there were some Metal Gear cosplayers, which was really cool. I was kind of pissed because this was the one day I was not in Metal Gear cosplay. I would be cosplaying on the Sunday. But I did end up actually bringing the cosplay with me, and I was, a little disappointed I, didn't cosplay for Snake as both days. But how cosplaying works at Comiket, you have to pay 500 yen to use the cosplay changing rooms. If you don't use the changing rooms, you can't cosplay. Of course, I was in incognito as Okabe from Steins Gate, so no one batted an eye, because it's just a lab coat. If anything happens, I can just take it off. But for the Sunday, where I was doing a full-on cosplay, I would have to go change in the cosplay changing area. After that, I finished my preparations for my cardboard box for Comiket. At this point, I got back home, or back to the hotel, pretty early actually. Comiket ends at 5 a.m. or 5 p.m., so the trek was kind of tough, I'll be honest, since, especially if you stay till the very end, because everyone is leaving at the same time, taking like the same 2 or 3 trains, so you really have to push through and try to make it through to get to the trains and get home. But Sunday, I wasn't going to stay nearly as long. I got my cosplay ready, got my box. For breakfast, I believe I was at a Denny's again. Where did I go for this? I don't remember where I ate this. Yeah. It was somewhere in Akiba, probably. Oh, I remember. No, I don't remember. I don't know where I got this meal from. Probably a family restaurant from the looks of it. But, I got this from a royal host in Akihabara. All the family restaurants kind of blend together. But yeah, I got them. I believe it was like a salad type mix meal bowl thing from Royal Host. It was fine. Second day of Comiket, and Man, I greatly underestimated how many people go to this event. Having been to North America, the biggest convention I've been to, only capped off at like 35,000 people. So seeing something that had at least 100,000 visitors in total was overwhelming. I took a picture here you can see of a massive bloody line into Comiket. I'm happy I was able to avoid the crowd on the Sunday. And Sunday mostly, since Comiket they switched their offerings on the first day and the second day for different booths. So first day it's like mainly game characters and different game series for their for dojins and corporate areas. Day two it switches over more to fan works and like military and other genres essentially. That's how they managed to fit all these different genres by having it split between 2 days. I mostly spent the second day in the cosplay area since I was in my snake cosplay, and I was just hanging out with other cosplayers. I didn't speak very much Japanese, but it's all about emotions and being able to translate that with the other cosplayers and have people take your photo. I got some cool photos myself of some Armored Core cosplayers, some Smash Bros cosplayers, which I took some pictures with, and that was pretty cool. And of course, I met up with the Metal Gear cosplayers again. I finally figured out how to lug a cardboard box around, and it was really cool just being able to hang out, take some photos. And yeah, after that, I think I left a little earlier since I didn't want to fight the crowd to leave again, and I had finished all my shopping that day. I managed to get another I Am Mama art book, this time with my Oshi in it, so that was lovely. But I got that was another successful day at Comiket, and a good way to end it. I left Comiket, I was relatively cooked, still in like half cosplay since I didn't feel like taking it off. Fortunately, since it was just military garb, for my snake cosplay, I was able to take off a good chunk of it, throw it in my duffel bag, and just kind of walk out of Comiket without anyone noticing me or yelling at me for being quote unquote in cosplay. But if you ever go in cosplay, don't do what I did. I'm a terrible criminal who broke all the Comiket rules to like be lazy and not change at the cosplay changing room properly. I did end up still paying the 500 yen to like do some changes if I needed to, but actually change where you're supposed to change. Don't use the washrooms. Don't change and go in beforehand, even though it's kind of a stupid rule and it should be your fault. You should be bearing the shame if you're willing to travel in Japanese public transit in cosplay. I ended up having dinner in Caesarea, which is a Italian restaurant with questionably tasty Italian food. I think I got a pepperoni pizza. As you can see, this is not your normal pepperoni pizza. Since I was in Akiba and still in cosplay, I went to the Super Potato to go take a picture with Snake in cosplay. Because, why the hell not? And I was pretty content at this point. I had gotten my main task of going to Comiket done, so I was ready to relax. The next day was New Year's Eve. Now, Japan on New Year's Eve, it's still a regular day, but on the first onwards, it all switches over to, like essentially like one week break for everyone in Japan, and you'll understand shortly. I was just chilling in Milish for Christmas Eve, got the Ferris Nyan Nyan drink. It's like an ice cream float. It was tasty, and I got some yakisoba as well. It's the Ferris yakisoba. That's all I can call it. Yeah, and they even got the Ferris figure out for me to take a picture with. And I was just kind of chilling that day, debriefing, recovering from a cold since I was sitting on the cold hard ground in Comiket, underdressed for 2 hours, so I caught a minor cold. I got a taiyaki at the taiyaki place in Akiba by one of the geekos. They sell all kinds of different taiyaki shapes. They do magic harps. I think they do pokeballs. I just got the cheapest option. And for dinner, I went to a restaurant in Akihabara. It's in one of the multi-layered buildings. They did Japanese teishoku, so like Japanese style cuisine, and I got something that I've never seen anywhere else outside of Japan. I got chicken nanban, which is essentially a deep fried chicken cutlet, which is then drenched in this like sweet and sour sauce, and then with a heaping spoonful of tartar sauce on top of it. This is peak Japanese food. And it was pretty tasty. I could have gone with a little less tartar sauce in my opinion, but having returned back to Canada, I've never seen any other Japanese restaurant here do this. The most you see is katsu or ramen or udon or something like that, but nothing teishoku like chicken nanban or anything, even at like proper Japanese restaurants. The next day it was New Year's. Happy New Year's 2025. Being ever the tourist, I decided to not go at midnight because I was still kind of sick, so I didn't want to go trek to a shrine in the middle of the night. But in the early morning, I was feeling a little better, and I went over to Meiji Shrine. It was around 10 or 11, so there weren't nearly as many people as I was expecting, and it was cool being able to visit a shrine during New Year's. Sadly, at Meiji Shrine, they don't do your fortunes. They give you like a poem instead. So I would have to go to a different temple to get that. After that, with way too much time on my hands, I ended up going to Atsukusa and trying to get to the Kaminari-mon to do the New Year stuff, but the lines were massive, so I gave up halfway through, went off on a side street, and just got some dango and some mochi for New Year's. I got some hanami dango, which I kept calling mitarashi dango, because, I'm an idiot, and I keep forgetting what it's called. I got some red bean mochi, and for lunch, I was walking around the Asuka's area and found a little, like, Indian Nepalese restaurant where I just got it's two different types of curries with naan and rice. Yeah. I also got my mango lassi. Yeah, that was tasty. It was weird getting so much Indian food in Japan, but it's actually, there's a surprising Indian diaspora in Japan, and a lot of Indian restaurants too. So I was definitely curious to try it out and see what the different flavors are like compared to here in Canada. I overpaid for a crepe in Akihabara, that smiley crepe. It's a long chuodori. It's just a 500 yen crepe. It's not that worth it. I would get different desserts, I think. And I spent the last night just exploring Akiba, getting a very bad picture of Radio Kaikon. And I just decided to go to one store called, I think it's called Life Shop M's. It's a big, sexy store. It's just a big, sexy store. All you need to know is I took a picture of the Tenga egg. That's all you need to know. I didn't buy anything, but yeah, that's all you need to know. The next day, some stores started reopening again on the 2nd, some like restaurants and stuff, but on January 1st, New Year's, nothing is open. The reason I have so few pictures of New Year's or the Harajuku area since I went to Meiji Shrine was because I walked along Takeshita Street. There was and some of the other streets there were very few shops open. So, like, even Takeshita Street, it was quiet, which was very surprising, since Takeshita Street is usually the main tourist attraction that has tons of people. So seeing it so dead was quite surprising. I didn't even take a picture. So on the 2nd day, I was in Akiba just chilling, since on the 3rd day I would be flying out. Akiba had Spooky Olaf. Don't even worry about it. He's just there. After Olaf, I went to Milish to get a amezake, which is a sweet sake that you normally drink during New Year's. They were serving it as a special during New Year's, and everyone was in their shrine maiden outfits, which was super cute. I ended up getting like a red beef curry for lunch as well. And I wasn't going to be staying in Akiba for too long, though, since in the afternoon I would have to take the 2-hour train to Narita Airport. Yeah. It was a learning experience going to Narita Airport, which is not in Tokyo, it's in Chiba. I got to the airport and checked into the capsule hotel that is attached to Narita Airport, which is convenient for when your flight is at 4 a.m. I got there, and honestly, I just decided to go check out the surrounding town near Narita Airport. I believe it's just called Narita. Um, it was still New Year, so there was all kinds of performances happening. There was like a street performer with a monkey. Don't let this distract from the fact that Becker bought a monkey. But there was a monkey, and there was also a cool temple in this area as well, which I was able to go to for New Year's and explore it. It was quite busy, of course, but not nearly as busy as something like Kaminarimon and Sensoji Temple. Yeah, I got some dango, just explored the area, had some of the street market food, some oden, usual stuff. And it was cool. It's like quote unquote suburb, I suppose. I had McDonald's for dessert. For dinner, I think I had like Chinese food at like a very 3.7 star out of 5 Chinese restaurant, with like some cheap fried rice. It was fine. It was in the area. After that, I went back to my capsule hotel since I would have to wake up quite early. The capsule hotel, it was an interesting experience. Wear headphones in case people outside are loud, but they gave you pajamas, you have a shower, and like a shared bathroom area with depending on your gender, and lockers you can check into. You gotta be quiet. And I was staying there just to check out early since my flight was flying out from Narita to begin the final part of my week, the final week of my Japan trip, which would be in Osaka, Kyoto, and those surrounding areas. So yeah, overall, Comiket was fun. Dress properly, don't be a fool like me, and freeze and get a cold. And yeah, hopefully catch you not too far from now for the final week of my Japan trip. Good afternoon, good evening, and